now.
Okay, thank you. No, it's just that we want to share this with field staff that are in all kinds of different time zones.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yep. No, thanks for the reminder. So that's where we fit in. Does that make sense from a usability perspective or from an end user perspective on your side? I talked about kind of the challenges with the peer-to-peer sharing and kind of the flatness of Google Drive. Do you guys see that? Do you see what we're talking about here?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So getting into what is AODocs. AODocs becomes an enterprise document management platform that sits right on top of your existing Google Drive. We install into your domain, and your Google Drive environment is where we layer right on top of, and we provide for the capabilities here on the left, where being able to provide document workflow. So if you've got documents that are looking to be published or be approved, and you want to circulate those documents between your peers, or in a some kind of approval process or review process, the ability to do document management workflow is built right into the AODocs document management. Michael, you had mentioned faceted search, or the ability to improve search. We improve upon Google Drive search by providing faceted search. Document validation, I kind of went into that with the ability to do the workflows and have those documents approved in the workflow. Creating record and document catalogs, adding metadata and tags to documents themselves, so making those documents more findable and accessible. The ability to do check-in and check-out, so when a user is editing a document, that document will be checked out of AODocs, and any other user who is trying to access that document would see that document only in read-only mode until that other person who's checked out the document in edit mode has finished their editings and checks it back in.
And what if somebody forgets to check it back in? Is there be a time limit on that, and then others could get into it?
That's correct. Then getting into permissions and access control, so significantly more security management, including being able to set up groups and individual users, very granular level, the types of access control that users, groups, and people inside or outside the enterprise have to the various documents. So managing that security and access at a granular level. Then the ability to do version management, so not just revision management, but having multiple version control over documents. So you can have, as you obsolete certain corporate documents, you can still maintain those, have those versions as active and inactive, and so forth. Completely integrated with Google Apps. So AODocs supports the single sign-on with your Google account. As I said, the documents are stored in your Google Drive. It's the same experience that a Google user has. So if they're now used to Drive and apps and so forth, it fits right in. We also support Microsoft Office and collaboration within Microsoft Office. So I don't know if you still have users using Microsoft Office documents, but we support the integration with Microsoft as well, better than the way Google Drive does it. Then the ability to integrate with applications itself. So if you've got documents that are being created like in a ERP system, having those documents to be able to be stored in AODocs document management enables you to still have those documents in your document management system. Any thoughts or questions that come to mind on this? Okay.
Are you going to sort of explode those little bullets more,
Yes.
each of them?
Yep.
Okay.
So AODocs becomes really that single solution for all of your business documents. So when you look at Drive today, it's a very flat, structured environment, but AODocs it gives you access to your My Drive. So you still see My Drive, and you can have documents still accessible there. You also now have a enterprise content repository. So now you would see AODocs managed documents um, within the AODocs environment, and then you can see over here managed documents, and these are documents going through the workflow process, draft, ready for review, all within the AODocs environment. So typical types of use cases that we get involved in is if organizations are looking to, where they want to leverage Drive, obviously, for more strategic use, and they are kind of migrating away from older legacy technologies like Lotus Notes. We have the ability to take content out of SharePoint and bring that into AODocs. If they're looking to move existing library structures into a cloud environment, so moving existing repositories. Additionally, if they are looking to create corporate intranets where you want to make information available through a intranet page, like using Google Sites. So being able to have your documents managed and validated in an AODocs environment before they get published to a website. So that's like a content management system. If you're looking to automate business processes, so implementing document-based workflow processes, enabling you to automate those business processes. We can call it as simple as a purchase order process, moving from order instantiation or a purchase order creation all the way through purchase order approval, and then storing that. Not saying that that's the use case, but that's a good example of a document workflow. Organizations that need to comply with regulatory regulations, industry regulations, or even corporate regulations or corporate standards. So that also fits with retention policies. So organizations that are looking to manage their documents and have retention policies and disposition policies associated with those documents, whether it's email or other kinds of records that you need to maintain, records management. So these are some of the typical use cases that we are getting into. So for users who are using AODocs, obviously, there's a lot of capabilities and a lot of value because we're so integrated with the Google environment that they already know. So they can access their documents from anywhere. They have the same user experience that they're used to with My Drive today. Obviously leveraging real-time collaboration and easier access to information with being able to do advanced search capabilities. On the control side, making sure that the right people have access to the right kind of content, whether it's in folders, whether it's down to the document level, it's all managed by AODocs. And then in helping them improve their productivity by helping them find the right information quicker, leveraging the user interface that they're used to, and also in addition to using Google Drive and Google Apps, supporting Microsoft Office integration. So Michael, I don't know, do you guys still have Microsoft Office users out there who still want to use those technologies, or are you moving away from those?
Well, you mean Word and Excel and
Mm-hmm.
PowerPoint? Yes, we are definitely still using that suite of applications.
So for those users, they may have noticed that if the way they share files today is they typically attach those files in an email and send them around, in which case you've got multiple versions of that document floating around and really become hard to manage. Alternatively, they could store those documents in Google Drive and share them that way, which is fine, except it's just kind of a pain to when you want to edit those and print those, you have to download them and open them up in your local desktop tool, print them, edit them, and then you save them back, and you have to deal with overwriting and so forth. And what we do with AODocs is make it a simple one-click when that document is in Drive, and Matthew can show this in the demo. When we show that in Drive, there's an icon that'll come up. Let's say if it's a Word document, it'll be a W icon will show up. The user clicks on it. It downloads, this is one step, downloads, opens up their local version of Word, allows them to edit that file. While they're doing that, the Word version that's in the Drive has been locked. So the next user can't download that to edit it. They can only get it in read mode. That user who's editing it now can save it when they click on the save icon in Word, it automatically saves it back to Drive. So it's just literally one click as opposed to the multiple steps.
And when the user is doing that, they're actually working, let's say, in Word?
Yes, their local version of Word, their desktop version of Word.
And are they working on a temporary file on their hard drive, or are they working on the cloud version?
Nope, they're working on the temporary version that's on their desktop. So.
And when it's uploaded, then is the whole file uploaded, or just the differentials uploaded?
The whole file gets loaded back up. Yep.
Yeah, the old file, and that will create a new version as well. So when you will check the versioning, then you will see all the version based on what the user will save. So you will open the file, you will open Excel, for example, so that will open the file from Drive to the version of Excel installed in his computer. And then you will do some modification, save the file. The entire file will be saved to the Drive, and then that's a new version.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to look at the different versions that have been saved, are those all tracked, or how does that work?
Yes, exactly. They're all tracked in Drive. I'm sorry, go ahead, Matthew.
No,
that's the answer. Yeah, so with the version tracking, version control of AODocs, all those older versions are now still stored in Drive.
And then they have to be manually reconciled somehow.
Manually reconciled.
They have several versions, and
but it's locked in, lock out. Check it. It's like a check-in and check-out.
No one else could make it.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
You
That's
can
right.
read the previous version, but it's locked out. You cannot edit it.
Okay.
So there's
and I will show you that as well. So.
Yeah. And that addresses the problem of somebody downloading that to their desktop, and the old-fashioned way, or the way it works in just Drive itself, you have to download it, then you edit it, then you load it back up, and now you've got, you'll have that reconciling problem there. What we do is we organize, those versions that have been that are back up there. So if someone has checked it out, that means somebody else can't check it out to overwrite it.
Can the system administrator set a timeout on that checkout? So if I'm have retrieved it to start editing it in a temporary copy, but then I go off to lunch and it's a 3-martini business lunch, and I come back 3 hours later, can there be a timeout before that? So it's just, sorry, you checked it out too long, end of session. Do you have that feature?
Matthew, I'll let you answer that one if you heard it.
Yes, yeah, so after 1 hour, you didn't do any modification.
So one hour with no activity.
Yeah, with no activity.
All right, so with Google Drive, right, or Google like a Google Doc, there's automatic saving back to the the document's automatically saved. So in the case of a Word doc, somebody's got to push the little disk drive, little disk to actually
Yeah,
save,
there's,
right?
yeah, if you've downloaded it, there's no automatic saving back to drive.
There would be. So Matthew, if someone wants to save it back to Drive, like the way it's working in Drive, they push the disk icon, um, and that saves it. Are they still working in the document? Do you know? We could
Yeah,
we
so
could test that out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I will show you that anyway. You will click on save. That will save the document, saving back to the, and you didn't close it. You will be checked out, and you will be still be working on the file
Okay.
until you close the file. That will check in back the file.
There you go. So that okay. We'll look at that later. And in terms of the value to IT, we're really bringing order to the chaos of Google Drive and really enabling the organization to take control and manage corporate content more effectively, improving its ability to do compliance, gaining better adoption of Drive, improving its processes. And then really, value comes down to how does it improve, the financial aspect of the organization. And aside from productivity and compliance, it enables you to take advantage of an infrastructure that you already have. Google, makes this available where other organizations, still have to justify the cost of the Google environment relative to alternatives in the nonprofit space and the education space. It's there for you. So you're way ahead of the game in terms of ROI. So, not having to spend money on other cloud storage systems, and getting an enterprise grade, environment allows you to save money, as well as reduce costs of infrastructure. And we work with our customers to develop a compelling value proposition of why this makes sense for them, both from a business perspective as well as relative to comparative alternatives or competitive alternatives that you might be considering.
On this page, you say, on the previous slide,
Yep.
you had permissions per library. What's your concept of a library? Is it just a collection of folders or something else?
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
collection
it's
of
a
files.
collection of folders.
Or files,
Okay.
files and folders, right? Can be any.
Right.
Both of those, yep. Okay. So now getting further, this we we offer
SharePoint, Notes, eRoom. We don't use those.
none of these.
File servers.
So you don't have documents and other content already. So okay, so we'll skip through this.
One very vintage
And that's
collection.
we have shared drives. We have network drives, file servers.
Okay. So yep, we offer migration from network file shares into Google Drive, and AODocs as well. So we have automation to help with that. I know you were interested in who are some of our customers and what do they have to say. So right now we have over 100 million. 1 million plus users, and I think. What was the last count, Matthew, of clients? The slide shows 250, but I thought we were north of 300 at this point.
Sorry, yes, we are 300 now. More than 300, actually.
Yeah.
310, I think.
Yep. So we're adding, 20 new customers a month, roughly. A lot of the volume comes from small companies, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 person companies who essentially just swipe a credit card and they buy a subscription and they're billed month to month. We've probably got about 50 large enterprises, some of the biggest being similar to Onyx. I think we're working at Whirlpool with Onyx, Lafarge, Seagate Technology, Whirlpool, Air Liquide, Woolworths, the old Woolworths, who's now down in Australia. They've become the Australian Woolworths. And Google itself is actually a customer. So Google itself is using AODocs on top of its Drive implementation in their legal group, in their data center operations, in the Google Fiber project, Google Fiber product line, where they're rolling out fiber optic lines to be basically in the telco business. So Google itself is a customer. You might notice down here the UNFPA, which I see as a very similar type of organization to Mercy Corps. This is the population group in the United Nations. So they're working across the globe, helping all sorts of countries with their population management. So you can look them up. And they have a distributed number of locations across the world, and they're using Google Apps and Google Drive and AODocs, both really as a file server right now, cloud-based file server, eliminating the cost and management of all those network file servers at those offices. And now they're moving into document management to improve their overall business process and workflow. Matthew, have you been involved in that project?
No, I'd be interested, and you can answer via email offline, if you have any customers where more than 50% of their employees are outside of Europe, North America, and the Pacific Rim, including Australia. That is to say, where 50%, more than 50% are in either the Middle East or Africa, less developed world. You can research that. We don't need an answer right away.
Okay. I think they probably fit that profile pretty well.
I'll check on that one. I can find that out. But if you have any others.
Okay. So, Matthew, I'm now at the kind of the features slide. Would you prefer that we can do this in the demonstration? Does that make sense?
Yes, for sure. I can go to the demo.
Okay. Why don't we switch gears and move into demo? So I'm going to turn Matthew into presenter. Yep, we got your screen, Matthew. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, so what I'm going to show you, two different things. The first product that I'm going to show you is AODocs file server. So in this product, the main interface will be Google Drive, and we'll basically add AODocs on top of Drive to be able to centralize the administration and security of those files. So here, the folder that you can see, named My Enterprise without AODocs, it's a normal folder in Google Drive. And so, as you know, all the file and folder that you have inside are owned by different users. So, for example, I own finance and the document contract, and Alice on marketing and project. And basically, if I want to delete finance, I will be able to do it because I own those documents and this folder. And if Alice wants to delete her folder or eventually share her folder, she will be able to do it because she owns it. So it's how Drive works today. It's user-centric as opposed to corporate-centric. So what we do when you have AODocs installed in your computer, in your Google Apps domain, I mean, you will have we will install a Google Chrome extension as well that we name the Smart Bar, that will bring some feature into the Drive interface. So one of the features is this one. For example, you can see the drop-down list on the left here that will display all the folder or libraries. That's what we name a library in AODocs, which is a folder that you can see here. So this drop-down list will display all the folders managed by AODocs for which I have access. So you can compare that to here. It could be your shared drive, this list, and on the My Drive you can have the equivalent of what you have in your C drive in your computer, for example. And so if I go back here and open AODocs library on this drop-down list, I will search for one of the folder named My Enterprise with AODocs. So it's one of the folder for which I have access, which is managed by AODocs. And you can see it because all the folders and files that you have inside are owned by one single account, which is AODocs owner in this case. And so as soon as I will add a new file inside of this folder, because this folder is managed by AODocs, the ownership will be automatically transferred from my account to this storage account that we use in AODocs to store all the files. So if I go back to my personal folder here, I have this document contract, for example, that I own, and I will be able to put it easily in my enterprise with AODocs here in this folder managed by AODocs that I showed you before. I can import a subfolder in the root folder. I will import in the root folder in this case. And so now the document will be moved from my personal space to this folder managed by AODocs, and the ownership will be transferred as well. So I can go to my enterprise with AODocs, and here you can see we have, so it was this one, we have two, it was this one. You can see it now owned by AODocs, and you can see that this document has been created a couple minutes ago. Modifying a couple minutes ago. And so you still have the same capability that a normal Google Docs. So you can see I can open it. I think this one is empty, but I can open it and I still have the same collaboration feature I used with Google Drive. It's just that we add AODocs on top to really manage the security and organization of this file. And you can also see that with the Chrome extension that we add, we will add a breadcrumb here that will show you in which folder is this file. So here it's just in the main folder, but if it's in subfolder, you will see it here as well in the Google Docs. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. If you have any question, just let me know. Then what I want to show you as well is the possibility to search inside of a specific folder. What's happened today when you search in Drive? So for example, if I search in test here, if I search test in my Drive, sorry, you will see that will search in all. I don't know where that doesn't appear. Let's search in all my drives, so all the files that I own and all the files shared with me as well, which could be an issue if you have a lot of files, because then it will be hard for you to find the right file that you want. But now if you know that the file that you want inside of my enterprise with AODocs, for example, you can select this folder or eventually a subfolder, and then you can do the same test and click on this button that we bring from AODocs, and then it will search only on the folder that I have selected before, which was my enterprise with AODocs in this case. And so you can see we just have 6 files here. 5 files. And so one of those files, it's an Excel file. You can see this one, numbers 2. So normally, as we were saying before, to edit this file with Drive only, I will have to download the file, open the file in Office, and then when I'm done, I will have to upload it back to Google Drive. But what could happen is if someone did the same thing the same time, you will have 2 versions of the file, which would be an issue. If you forgot to delete the previous version, you will also have 2 versions in the same file. Now what we do with AODocs, when you have AODocs installed in your domain, you will be able to click on this button here, the X, and that will open directly the file from the Drive interface into the version of Microsoft Office that I have in my computer. So for instance, here it's an Excel file, so it's downloading the Excel file and opening it in Excel directly. And you will see I have exactly the same capability that I have in Excel because that's my version of Excel. So, and then since I opened this file from the Drive interface, now this file is locked in addition for the other user. So if someone else wants to edit the file, open the file, he will be able to open it, but in read only, and won't be able to do any modification until I close it. So now I can do some modification, and then I can save and close, and the file will be closed and upload it to Google Drive here. You will see, and now you will see the last modified date just changed. It has been uploaded to Google Drive. And now you can also see if I right-click on this file, you will see that manage version. You will see all the previous version of this file. So this one, that's the new version that I saved a couple seconds ago. but you have all the previous versions. So you see yesterday I did some demo, for example, or Tuesday as well. So you see that all those versions are saved here directly into Google Drive. Any question about that?
It keeps it for 30 days, I said. Is that configurable or is it fixed?
It kept which day, you said?
You said when you opened up to see the revision history, it looked like it said for the last 30 days.
Yes, so what we have here, I will explain and show you that. Basically here it will keep only during 30 days, except if you tick this box. But what we also have with AODocs, so that could be an equivalent of the revision of the files. So it means I open the file, I do some modification, I save it, and some other people will do it on the same file as well. So I will have kind of a revision, but then if I want to create a new version of the file, so as I can have a contract version 1 and a contract version 2 that are two different versions that I want to freeze, I can go to, in that case, the AODocs interface and then create a version from the AODocs interface. So I can show you that here, and I will tell you more about the AODocs interface just later. But basically what I can do is I can do open with AODocs and open the AODocs interface. And so we do it from the AODocs interface because we didn't bring it into the Drive interface yet, but that's something that will happen in the next couple of months. Because the goal that we have is to bring more and more feature into the Drive interface. So for example, I will show you, but we have the possibility to add metadata and workflow on the document. Today you will need to use the AODocs interface to do that, but that's something that we will bring in the next version of the Google Chrome extension that will be released in December. So then here what I'm doing is just opening this same file into the AODocs interface. So that's just exactly the same file. That's not a copy that's really exactly the same. It's just a different way to visualize this file. So here I'm from the AODocs interface with exactly the same file, and I will be able to go here to version, and then I will be able to create a new version from there. And this version will be like a freeze version. So I will want to put a name and description for each version that I create. And as I was saying, it can be the difference between the revision of a file and a real version of a file. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I will close it and go back to the Drive interface. Then what I want to show you as well, see if I go back to my enterprise with the here, is the possibility to delete a file. So, I mean, not the possibility, but how does that work? Basically, in Drive, when you delete a file today that you own, you will go to your trash. Nobody will be able to see this file anymore. And then it will stay in your trash until you empty the trash. Now what we do with AODocs, when a file is owned by AODocs, first I can decide who can delete a file. So it could be any user who has edit access, or it could be an admin profile. I will explain you that in the permission, but basically you will be able to decide who can delete a document. So now if I want to delete a document, I will, in this case, be able to do it because I have the permission to do it. So I can just click on this button, delete file, and the document will be deleted. That's the normal behavior. I have the permission to do it, so that's normal. But now, as an admin of this library, and I will come back to this term, as an admin of this library or folder, I will be able to restore a deleted document. So if I go here, as an admin, I have those buttons here that a normal user doesn't have. I will be able to go to this interface and see all the deleted documents of this specific folder. So you can see that's a demo folder, so you can see all the contract that I have imported and deleted right after. So here was my document. And so I will be able, if I want, to restore this deleted document during, in that case, the last 30 days, because I have set up it that way. But you will be able to personalize the number of days that you want to keep the deleted documents. It could be 30 days, it could be 40 days, it could be 50 days, 60 days, so it's really customizable how you want. And you can even say you never want to delete the deleted documents. Okay? Any questions so
Yes.
far? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now what about the permission? So here in terms of permission, how does that work? We have this concept of library, which is, as you were saying, a set of folders. And it's like kind of a root folder. So the library here, for example, it's my enterprise with AODocs. And so to manage the permission, I need to be an admin in this case. And again, I will open this in the AODocs interface, and I will show you how does that work. In the same way, we are bringing the possibility to manage the permission in the AODocs interface, in the Drive interface as well. We already have a piece, but I prefer to show you everything from the AODocs interface, which is will be better in that case. We can come back on that as well. But basically, how does that work? You will be able to set the permission at root folder level. So for the entire library, my enterprise with AODocs, you will be able to define who can access to this library. So you can see here, we'll be able to define who can access to this library and which kind of access they have. What do you use to define who can access to the library? You will be able to use the Google Groups and the Google users that you have in Google Apps. So you don't need to recreate a set of users and group that you have in AODocs, because you will use that you already have in Google Apps. So as you can see here, I have AODocs demo user. If I want, I can add this group deployment, which is another group that I have in my domain. And then I will be able to define if this group can edit all the documents of this library or only view them. And then for each, so once I did that, all the permission will be applied to all the folders and files that I have inside of this library. But then at subfolder level or file level as well, if I want, I will be able to redefine the permissions. For example, if I go to finance here, you see that I have the inherited permission here by default, but if I want, I can say change, and I can say that this folder permission are defined below, and I will be able to redefine the permission for this specific folder. So I can say now that for this folder finance, only Alice will be able to view the file. And so as another user who can access to this library, if I go to Drive, I won't be able to see this folder finance. And as I was saying, yeah, go ahead.
If you add somebody to a group, do they automatically get whatever permissions that group has without any separate communication from you?
Yes, exactly. And that's the beauty of that, is once you set up everything using the Google group that you have in Google Apps, when you have a new user, for example, joining, you will be able to say this user will be part of the group XXXX. And so then when you will access to Google Drive for the first time, instead to have nothing, you will be able to have all the folder for which you have access directly under in the drop-down list here, because it will be part of the right group that you set up in the library. That makes sense?
Yes.
And we really recommend to use the group because it's the best way to manage the permission. We have some best practices that we will be able to share with you during the deployment phase. Then what I wanted to show you as well at this point is the possibility to, so if I go back to the AODocs interface, we have different criteria, parameters that we can set up in the library. For example, who can manage the permission, who can manage the folder, meaning creating, deleting, renaming, or move a folder, and who can delete a document. And for those three options, as I was saying before, it could be any user who can edit the permission, edit folder or file, sorry, or it could be only the admin of the library. And the admin of the library is like a key user, so you will be able to define it here. The admin could be some individual user, as I have here in this example, or it could be a group as well, so I can take my group deployment again and add it as an admin. And the admin is really a key user, so you will have the IT user who will be able to access to the entire libraries that you have in AODocs. And then you have the admin of the library who are like an admin of the space, so they will be able to restore deleted document, check the delete log, manage the permission, etc., etc. So it means you can delegate the administration of the libraries to some key user in the different group or department. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Hey,
Okay, great.
hey, Mike. This is Dave. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes left here, and I know Matthew could probably go on for hours, and that's a good thing. I mean, that means that there's a lot of depth and breadth to the product. I wanted to maybe start to wrap up, just to be, cognizant of your time and respectful of that. And
We just see like 2 minutes on tagging and faceted search.
okay,
That was my question too.
perfect.
Yes, for sure. So I can show you a quick example of that. So if I take, for example, this, we have product catalog. That's one of the use cases. So in this case, because I'm using this configuration, I will have to use the AODocs interface. But as I was saying before, that's something that we'll bring into the Drive interface. So that will be able in Drive interface in a couple of weeks. And I need to take a time to load here because I'm connecting with my phone and not with the normal internet connection. And so here what we have, the examples that we have here, it's a product catalog. So that's a company who wants to organize the documentation of their product by metadata instead to have that by folder because they won't be able to search by product with some criteria. So that's the home page of the library named product catalog here. And basically what we have here on the bottom, on the top, the description of the library that we can personalize how we want. We have the recent activity, which is the last action by the end user and also part of the audit log. And on the left, we have the custom views that we built in this library. And so I will click on the first one, all products, where I will see all the products of this specific library. So basically, I will see all the documents of the library here. And you will see that we have, so you can see all the title of the document here. And we have other information on the right. So for example, product type, version name, bus type, manufacturer, part number, units price, color temp, etc., etc. That's the metadata that I define on those documents. And so for here, that's an example, but I will be able to define the metadata that I want, the custom properties that I want, based on my needs and what I want to, how I want to tag my documents. And with those tags now, I will be able to search using the metadata. So for example, first on the left, I have a navigation by product type. So I can browse by product type. You can see here. I can say, for example, I want to see all the CFL documents. So I can click on CFL, and I will see only 3 documents. And then I can also show the filter that I have in this view and say I want to see all the CFL documents with a base type E26, which is the criteria that we have on those products here. And I can also search with a keyword if I want within a metadata or within the document. If it's a PDF, Word document, or Google Docs, I can tick this box and search into the document as well. And then if I click here, I will open these documents. And in this document, you will see that we have on the top the standard metadata, which is the creation date, last update date, document creator. So you see that that's the first piece here. And then you can see the picture of those people here. And then you have the custom properties that we had on these documents. So the part number, power, product type, and so on, that you can personalize, as I was saying. And then you have the attached file. So in this case, we just have one attached file, which is a PDF. So I can click and display this PDF if I want to. And I will be able to have to preview this PDF. If it was a Google Docs or if it was Microsoft Office document, I would be able to open it in the same way that I can do from Google Drive. And if you are familiar with the viewer of PDF, you can see that it's exactly the same here than what we have in Drive. So it's loading here. And then so you see the document. And then on the bottom here, I have a description as well, which is a big field with some information about the product. And so if I have the permission, I can edit this information and you see change the value here. And the all this configuration that we have here, it's really simple to do it. So it's really like click button, as I call it. So you can just add a new value really easily. Once you receive an admin training to do that kind of thing, you will see that it's really simple to realize, to do those configuration in AODocs.
Okay, got it for now. That's enough. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Thanks, Matthew. I'm going to take back the presenter. If I can find me.
Yeah, okay.
I have one question really quickly. What constitutes a user? I know you do pricing like per user, but I'm more concerned like what is a user like? What if we have like a consultant that was not in our Google Apps domain? Can they be a user also?
I mean, technically, if somebody is getting content that's in AODocs, that's defined as a user. But we can, contract with you and negotiate that so that we can incorporate the understanding.
So she's talking more from an operational point of view. If somebody is an external consultant that has a non-Mercy Corps address, how do we share content with them? Do we have to add them to our Google directory?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Matthew, you want to kind of talk about that part? Yeah.
Yes. So we have what we name external user, and that could be any other Google Apps account, or it could be a Gmail account, or it could be a Google account. So the user with their business address can set up a Google account. It's free. And then you will be able to share documents with them through AODocs, and you will be able to whitelist the external user as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to try to make myself presenter here.
Presented as presentable.
You guys see my screen?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
good. Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure if I was showing it. So I know what you would ask for was a couple of customer testimonials. So on our website, there's a customer success stories, if you will. And this one is from Donna Lister from Jarlette Health Services, which is a healthcare provider in Canada. So you can see that they were looking at around here, they were looking at other popular solutions, SharePoint, Box.com, too expensive, didn't integrate well with Google Apps, and they looked at Dropbox and Drive. Both had security that was too out of control. Dropbox was not so Google Apps friendly, so they ultimately obviously chose AODocs. And there's their entire story that you can read, and there are numerous stories that you can read about that. So hopefully that gives you some, customer testimonials that you can check out. The other thing I wanted to mention was that AODocs was recently, and I mentioned this to you earlier, Michael, that on November 3rd, Google introduced a program called Recommended for Google Apps for Work. And in that program, what they're trying to do is help organizations identify and utilize high value, high impact third-party applications that work in their environment, and they're going through the due diligence of certifying them, validating them, and working with them. In fact, Google is essentially a reseller of AODocs, so they stand behind AODocs and their platform. They are taking revenue from AODocs on our for deals that we're working with them on. So they're essentially a reseller of AODocs technology. And this is a press release that we made around that program. And there is another site. I might have shared this with you. It's in my signature, but here's where in their official Google for Work blog, where they make the announcement of what the Google for Work Google recommends for work programs all about, and they name, you can see AODocs and a few other technologies, obviously us for the document management space. So that's great validation for AODocs, in the marketplace with Google stepping up. So there's a few, I'll call them in the testimonial space for you. I'll look into the UNFPA project too. The individual over there who's the project owner, project champion, typically is very open to talking with some of our other prospective customers and explaining their pain points, their needs, what they were looking for, their project, and they're usually very open to talking about that. So I'll put that out there, Michael, if that's something that you guys wanted to move forward with. We could set something up as well. So I know
Okay, good. Yeah.
we're a little bit past the hour here. I have some thoughts on next steps that I'd like to share, but if you guys have some thoughts first that you would like to share, or would you like me to, kind of go through how we typically like to engage and propose that for you?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, so the typical way I like to engage is to first develop a solution value proposition, to really take a look at the pain points that you've got and start to frame out what an AODocs solution would look like. What parts of our product set make the most sense and the areas that you're going to see benefits from, and then really identify what those benefits are. Is it improved collaboration? Is it more security on sensitive documents, and making sure they're not shared? Is it improved retention policies? Those are the target benefits, but then putting them into the perspective of a value proposition. How will this save you money? How is it going to generate value for the organization? Not just benefits, but really the soft and hard dollars that will help you to justify the project. So I take that as a next step, and then we look at that value proposition and we tune it and see if it makes sense. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, then either it's not the right thing to move forward with, or we need to take a look at how you're going to benefit and make sure that those make sense for you. From there, if we pass kind of the value proposition test, then we would do develop kind of an engagement plan around how we can go about proving out key aspects of the value proposition. So where you've kind of looked at, you've got all these features and capabilities here. Well, some of these features and capabilities that you've documented really result in proving the value proposition. Then let's put that on a proof of concept, and we are willing to make investments to help prove those out, and investments in our time. And depending on the magnitude of the opportunity, we go all in. For example, where Matthew's coming back, we've been there for almost 2 weeks, due to the magnitude and strategic value of that deal. So, the kind of the steps are the value proposition document, which is, no cost to do anything, to, develop the value proposition. And then if that makes sense, move it into developing an engagement plan where, we identify the things that you'd like to see. What are your responsibilities for that? What are our responsibilities? And we, march it towards a plan, and we kind of really put some structure around the process. I'm done.
Any comments here?